The two teenagers who kidnapped Junko Furuta raped her continuously and stuck rusted iron and light bulbs inside her pussy. So whenever you hear true crime stories from other parts of the world, that pales to what happens in Japan on a daily. Not on a daily, but what happens to Junko in 1998. I don't even know how to start this video off, but let's start from Junko Furuta. This lady right here, I don't know if I'm butchering her name. She was a teenager, 17 at the time of this occurrence. On her way back home from wherever she was coming from, she was riding on a bicycle when she was spotted by two teenagers. Put this in your mind. Two teenagers spotted her and they devised a dubious plan in order to make their dubious move. Remember the victim, right? She was riding on her bicycle back home when she was spotted by the two of them. So they devised a plan, which is for one of the two teenagers to just use his bike and kick her off the bicycle she was riding on, while the other teenager would go and act as a nice guy and try to gain her trust and everything like that. So they executed the plan. One of them kicked her off the bicycle and rode off in his motorcycle, while the other one went and helped her up and like offered to take her home from that place so that nobody will bully her again. Type shit. Non-suspecting Junko Florida was like, what? Okay. Then the guy started taking her home. He was walking her home and they changed trajectory. Like she was supposed to go through a particular corner and the guy changed corner and took her to a warehouse. On entering the warehouse, the guy totally changed up. His attitude flipped on his head and he was like, you do know I'm part of the Yakuza, right? Junko Farida was like, he was like, you have to obey all my commands or I'll murder you and murder your whole family. She was still like, and she was surprised because none of this shit has happened. Like if it was happening in 2025, where there's past history of all this shit happening, in 1998, all this stuff was still new and no one has heard of things like this. The guy was like, I'm going to kill you if you don't obey all my commands. Then Juko was like, what was your command in the first place? The guy was like, you kind of look like my ex-girlfriend, so you have to like stay over with me for like the weekend and stuff. Junko was a 17-year-old girl. She didn't know any better since she was like, okay. Then the two guys allegedly SA'd her continuously. Continuously. They continuously found more gruesome and torturous ways to SA this girl. It even got to a point where they used metal rusted pipes and stuck it into her private. They used hot bulbs, put it into her private area and wiggled it until it shattered. Quote unquote, the police that found her body said that her internal organs were mangled. Have you ever heard that in a true crime story before? Mangled when they found her body. Allegedly, she was like in the captivity of those guys for 44 days. And people are speculating, or it is speculated that she was SA'd by over 100 and over 100 men. Then one day, one of the guys like lost the game of mahjong. He came back home and he beat the living daylight out of Junko Florida. And after beating her, she started convulsing as one would. Then he poured lighter fluid on her and set the beach on fire. She lightly tried to stop the fire, but she died soon. After she died, these guys put her body in a plastic bag, put the plastic bag into a suitcase, and put it into a drum, fill the drum up with wet concrete, and leave it, dump it in one like abandoned building somewhere. Then they were caught. The surprising part of all this story was that in 1998, when the two guys were caught, they were given 7 years or 7 to 20 years sentence. That means right now, these two guys are free in the world. So if one of them are watching this video, I want to throw this question out there. How will you feel? How will you feel if something like this was done to your daughters? Yeah, I wish you the worst. So Junko Florida's body was like gotten out of the concrete and she was buried in Japan initially. Then after she was buried, her grave kept on getting vandalized by the family of the like the people in jail. The boys that like SA'd her, their family were continuously vandalizing the graves of Junko Farida. I don't know what they think, whether this lady was wrong or their family members were right. I don't know what their thought process was in that aspect. I am even surprised that those guys were not sentenced to like life in jail or death by hanging. As a result of the vandalizing of Junko Farida's grave, her family like removed her corpse from Japan and now she's buried in Texas in the United States of America. What do you think should be the punishment for a guy or a group of people who do something like this to a young lady right now? Me personally, I think that they should be castrated and like left to rot in jail forever.